to share something with you. That might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something, completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from here, and this has been like a therapy session.
Andrew McCart, IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. Eddie, I just said that it's been a long time. June last year in Cardiff, Cordina against Ogawa, since I last spoke to you. Just living it up in Edinburgh, Scotland.
So you're training now, you know, you've got your Misfits debut coming up. Well, you could fight Parsons.
There's a weight difference, he's heavier than me.
Is he? Yeah, he's only about that tall. I know.
Yeah, we're just sticking on Parsons. You spoke to him about the pad work and all that. You said he was terrible, but did the pad man not make him look good?
Not really.
No.
You listen, there's only so much you can do, you know? You can't polish a turd, as they say.
That's my headline right there. Yeah, let's talk about this. Quite a quiet sort of press conference, quiet sort of way, and the crowd was there for Pacheco and Cullen. But you look at the Davis Jr. fight and the Foley fight and the Pacheco and Cullen fight, man, that's got war written. I can see two amazing fights at the top of the bill.
I think so. I mean, look, we lost the Callum Smith fight, which was obviously disappointing, but we got a really good card from top to bottom, and you kind of get that decision to make at that time. You've got, 16 fighters that have been training for 8 weeks. They've all individually sold a lot of tickets. You've got world-class stars like Pacheco, Peter McGrail. You've got really good fights with Robbie Davis and Foley. You've got the Romford Bull, Johnny Fisher. Everyone's coming up from Essex and booked their tickets. Got a really good female fight as well between Wilkinson and Rhiannon Dixon. I even like Aqib Fiaz against Dean Dodge. Really good fight. Campbell Hatton, Paddy Lacey as well, and George Liddard. It's a good show, and those two main fights could really surprise you. I love the Pacheco-Cullen fight because we live in a world of hype, and that's my fault, but we hype up Diego Pacheco, and we're going to find out what he's made of tomorrow night.
Well, I said to Pacheco, man, obviously you're out your comfort zone in a little bit. You're headlining your first card overseas against Jack Cullen, who's had good wins. He's been the underdog in one, and he's lost some big fights, but he has upset the apple cart a couple of times. So the pressure is on young Diego Pacheco, being only 22 years old.
Yeah, and he's never, I know that Jack Cullen is a European level fighter. We saw him, he was coasting that European title fight, got hit by a brutal body shot, got stopped, but he's not a world-class fighter. But Pacheco, he's the best opponent of Pacheco's career so far. And Pacheco's away from home. We know that Cullen's got a lot of support. He's very tough, he's very experienced now. And I like it because all that build-up that you do, and now it's time. And he maybe he unravels on Saturday night. Maybe he gets overrun by the occasion. Maybe the fight goes deep and Cullen toughs it out. Maybe he's a bit too experienced for him. But Pacheco can really fight, and it's not just the 17 wins that he's had since the age of 17. It's the hard sparring with Canelo Alvarez and Dimitri Bivol and David Benavidez and all these great fighters. And I think Pacheco's a special talent.
You touched on Aqib Fiaz there. Now, when I'm looking at the card, I've seen that Aqib Fiaz and young Campbell Hatton's been on the same card a couple of times, both around that Manchester area, both around the same weight, one's red, one blue. That fight makes sense to you?
It's a big fight for the arena. I mean, Aqib Fiaz is one of our biggest ticket sellers, and Campbell Hatton's got a few hundred coming from Manchester himself on Saturday night. So I think that when we talk about the stages of their development, Campbell Hatton is a couple of fights behind Aqib Fiaz. But at some point, when we talk about, I was just saying on the stream there, when you talk about development, how long is development? At what time do you say? And Campbell Hatton, you forget, has been developing for quite a while now. And there's only so many fights you can get before you take that risk or that gamble. And really, he's 1 or 2 fights away from that bigger step up, as is Aqib Fiaz. Aqib Fiaz, tough fight with Dean Dodge, but ready really to move on to English level and British title stuff. If those two can get to British title level and fight each other, that's a really big fight for Manchester. And again, with Campbell, it's only, sooner or later, it's 8, 10, and sorry, mate, whether you're ready or not, there's no one else to fight, let's go. And I think he's improving nicely. I think you're going to see much better things from Campbell Hatton.
Off the sort of card today, I've seen your interview with Coogan yesterday, and you went off, and I enjoyed it. I love that Eddie Hearn. I don't like the subdued, I'm going to keep my mouth shut Eddie Hearn. I like the Eddie Hearn that goes off on one, and I like that. So you went off a little bit. You got any response from that from Tyson Fury? I tried to check his social media. He's not replied, but has he sent you a message yet?
Yeah, I mean, look, it was. I guess, look, with all the Conor Benn stuff and stuff like that, it does get you down, and maybe your mojo does get a little bit diminished. But yesterday I was firing because I started thinking about AJ coming back on April the 1st and started thinking about how excited I was, started thinking about the heavyweight division, and then started thinking about all the times I've been there before. with this undisputed fight. This has nothing to do with me, right? And people say, why is Hearn commenting on Usyk Fury? Because I'm getting asked about it. And I probably am in the top 1% of experts in the world that can give you exactly what's happening without even being involved in the conversations. And what's happening is Tyson Fury knows how difficult the fight is with Alexander Usyk, and he has an amount of money in his head that he wants for that fight. That money is not achievable. Okay? They weren't able to deliver the fight in the Middle East, so now they have to come back and look at Wembley, which is completely impossible in terms of what Tyson Fury wants for that fight. Now, Tyson Fury wants, as I understand it, 70-30 or whatever the split is, I don't know. But Alex Krasuk comes out and says, look, we're up for entertaining 60-40, and apparently that's been rejected as well. Again, Twitter, whatever. The reality is Tyson Fury is a bigger draw than Alexander Usyk, no question. Alexander Usyk has 3 world heavyweight title belts. Tyson has 1. What should the split be? In a commercial world, which is irrelevant, as I've found in the past trying to negotiate the undisputed fight, Tyson Fury should get a better split. If he wants the fight, if he really believes that he wins the fight comfortably and makes history and creates legacy as the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, he takes 50-50. If he thinks the fight's very difficult and I'm only taking this fight if I get the right deal, don't blame him for that. Then he either finds a way to not make it happen, or he tries to sit out for 70-30 or 65-35 or whatever he wants. So that is what is happening. And, you know, I feel in this instance, and I can't believe I'm quite saying this, but I feel for Frank Warren and George Warren, because there's a certain amount of money in a pot, and sometimes fighters don't quite understand this. You know, they want more money, they want this. When this is the amount of money being generated for the fight, there's nothing else. You know, well, that's not enough money. That's your value in the fight. Well, I want more. But how? Do you understand what I'm saying? If a fight generates $100 million, that's the money available for the fighters. If you want $100 million on your own, where do you think that's coming from? So it's all very well Tyson Fury saying, I want 120 million or whatever I want. No one's prepared to pay it. You've tried. You've gone out to the Middle East, to various different countries, and pitched that fight. You've blanked in terms of delivering a deal. So now you have to decide, do you do it in Wembley or do you not do it at all? And do you fight someone else? And I think it'll be the latter. But
Find somebody else.
Probably. But the reason that I was bullish yesterday is because I've seen, and I've been on the back end of criticism from Tyson Fury coming out very well on social media, saying this and that. And I've actually had times where he's come out and he's gone, I'll fight AJ, but it has to be in Wembley and it has to be available for free on TV and all the tickets to free charity. I've actually had people stopping me in the street going, oh, what about Tyson Fury? He's unbelievable, said that everyone can come free to the AJ fight. And I'm like, oh, God. And it's very difficult when you're dealing with that mentality. But, and I'm not even saying what Tyson Fury is doing is wrong, by the way. But what you can't do is you can't say, I don't care about money. I don't care about, how much it is or where it is. And this guy's a middleweight and it's an absolute walk in the park for me. And then turn down a fight, So I'm just pumped for AJ to come back, because right now AJ is behind closed doors in Dallas working his absolute bollocks off to come back and give the UK public an unbelievable performance and say, I'm back and I want to fight Tyson Fury. If I'm Tyson Fury right now, what I'm doing is, if I'm really not taking the Alexander Usyk fight, I'm reaching out to us and I'm making the Anthony Joshua fight for the summer. That's what I'm doing.
Is that an ideal world for you?
100%. We've got the framework of that deal in place. And that fight is twice the size of Fury against Usyk. And you may get a couple of hardcores listening to this going, how can you say that? It's the undisputed champion. Again, if you want to talk about commercial value, please don't question me. I know it like the back of my hand. The commercial value of AJ against Fury is monumental and much bigger than Fury against Usyk. And I'll say this again. If Fury Usyk was as big as everybody thinks it is, it may get made. But interesting. And this time, I'm just a fan. Like you or like people on site, I've got nothing to do with it. I've just got my opinion. Like everybody else.
Everyone loves your opinion.
Yeah, but some people agree with it, some people don't. But what I can do is it's opinion of an expert. It's not the opinion of some geezer who's just stopped me down the pub like you. No, you know the business. And I don't think Tyson would have. I'm saying I'm not criticising Tyson Fury. It's a very difficult fight. But the reason I was bullish yesterday is because I start looking at Anthony Joshua and I go, not a guy that comes out and talks shit all over social media, doesn't tell the public false truths, has boxed everybody he's been asked to box, has tried to box others, and boxed Alexander Usyk twice, back to back. Everyone said, don't fight Usyk. Fucking, that's a really tough fight for you. No, I've got to fight him. He's my mandatory. Yeah, but but I want to be undisputed, so I've got to go through him. What credit did he get for that? None. And then when he got beat well in the first fight, everyone said, don't fight him again. It's a mismatch. Have an easier fight, come back. No, go straight back into the fight. Even the Ruiz 2 fight, and you can look at it now and say, oh, Andy Ruiz. He got dropped, 4 or 5 times in that fight? And when he got up, everyone said, oh, mentally finished. Can't possibly go into a Ruiz rematch. We'll never do it. He said, no, mate, the next day, I'm 100% rematching Andy Ruiz. Won every round. Come back. And listen, I know he's my guy and I'll battle for AJ till the day I die, but only because I know him and I know what he's all about. He's a champion. He's a competitor. And I can't wait to see him back. I'm nervous about him coming back because he's coming back off 2 defeats, and the Franklin fight may be one of the most important of his career to date in that respect. But I know what he's all about. And what he's all about, he is about legal. And I know in the press conference, money. Don't buy that. Of course, everybody wants the most money possible. I'm telling you now, day in, day out, this kid's a competitor. He's a winner, and he just wants to fight the best.
You pushed for time here, but I do want to get a couple of quick fires on you. Jake Paul. A couple of things about Jake Paul. Obviously, the wet dream story, that's why his legs were weak, and obviously running away from Floyd Mayweather and 30 of his guys. Nah, that wasn't a good look. Your thoughts?
I would have done the same. I would have probably legged it, but it's a terrible look. I mean, it's one of them, if you're a fighter, he's the only fighter in the world that would have run away. Do you know what I'm saying? But I don't blame him but I think in that instance, you have to just bite down on the gum shield because the world's watching. And you have to say, do you know what? I'm going to front it out. If I get chinned, I get chinned. And hopefully some security step in. But turning around and doing the Bugs Bunny, weren't the best. Roadrunner, wasn't it? But he's not. This is when we talk about fighters. To be a fighter, you have to be a certain type of individual. That's actually why I give Jake Paul props, because he's tough. He took a few good shots in there the other night and he gets stuck in. But he ain't a fighter. And fighters, what you saw there, that's just not what fighters do. I'm not saying it wasn't a smart move because he got himself out of a situation. Like I'm saying, I probably would have done the same thing. Actually, I don't know if I would have.
You're 6'4". You can't even...
No, but it's not that. I'd rather take a pasting, in all honesty, than... Because that clip, it just goes viral. But, yeah, it's a different world, Andrew. We're in the fight game. It's a different world, mate. It's not... And the thing is about Jake Paul, he's created memes and brutalised his opponents for his whole career. And then when he lost to Tommy Fury, he wants to give the respect. But he doesn't give his respect to his former opponents. So you have to take what's coming. He don't care. He's got thick skin. He's fine. He'll be fine.
One final one for me then, obviously. Your good friend, Leonard Ellaby. Did you see his new look? The beard game?
Yeah, the beard game. Retirement's treating him well. Someone sent it to me and went, look what you've done to Leonard Ellaby. And I was like, that's not Leonard Ellaby. And it was. Yeah.
Well, he's much greater than you, Eddie.
But no, I hope he's doing well.
I know you're training with Parsons tonight, doing a little... Do you want me to take you on the pads? You up for that?
Yeah, I've got bad hands, mate, to be honest with you.
I'll wrap you up, don't worry.
Yeah, okay, we'll do that, yeah. We're going to do a little 5K, a few weights. Got to get Parsons fit. Yeah. I'm worried about him, he's 19. And when I went to him earlier, Parsons, I went, we'll do 5K to start off. He went, yeah. I'm like, can you do 5K? We'll have a look.
Eddie, thank you so much, my man, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, Eddie.
I'm going to share something with you. That might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife for saying completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from it, and this has been like a therapy session.